Hello everyone, it is Wizard Stove here, and I am starting a new series on this channel called the OC Files, where I have this little sketchbook that I got specifically for this series. My goal is to fill every page with an OC of mine from very specific stories that I have, and I'm also using it as a way to try to figure out my stories, try to develop them more, try to develop the characters more, and also develop their designs. Basically, how this is going to go, each episode is going to consist of me drawing just one OC and then talking about them, because that gives me more time to focus on that specific character and give you guys some information about them. So far, I know I have two stories that I'm going to be talking about. The first story I'm talking about has 7 characters. The other story has a lot more characters in it because I has to deal with cheerleading teams, so it's got some more characters in there, but that one's going to be later, so I'm still developing that one a little bit more. So I have decided to do this story first, which is called Overcome. Before I get into talking about the character that I am drawing, I'm going to give you guys just a little basic idea of what the story is and the ideas that I have for it. The basic concept is there's 7 lonely teens who are starting another year of high school, and the goal is to kind of almost have this be an RPG maker, visual novel type of game, where you are going to switch between the 7 characters to interact with the others, learn about their lives, while also forming a strong bond between the 7 of them. So it's basically just a soft, heartfelt game where you're playing as these 7 kids and you're kind of bringing them together to like form this little family between them. Like, I'm kind of considering actually getting RPG Maker and all that kind of stuff, and like seeing how far I can go with even like making my own stuff for it, because I feel like that would be really fun and it'd be like a fun little funky thing to try out. I'm not gonna go even more in depth with the story right now because there's not too much I want to talk about, because like I want to see how much I can keep hidden until I do certain things. If you guys have specific questions, I can even make in between videos where I actually give you guys a little bit more information about the story, or like what my idea is for like gameplay and stuff. So if you guys have questions, I can talk about it more and all that kind of stuff. But right now I want to get into the first character, whose name is Kendall Brooks. Kendall is 16, 5'3", a non-binary lesbian who goes by they, them pronouns. They have a twin brother named Eric, who I will actually be talking about in the next episode. And some backstory with Kendall: when they were 6, their mother passed away, and after this their father became really distant from grief, and it only got worse over the years. Kendall was extremely close with their dad when they were younger, and they wanted comfort from their father in, these times. They were not having the best of times, they weren't having a good time coping with this. Even with Eric being there for Kendall and comforting them, because, Eric is in the same situation, there was still a small part of Kendall that felt alone. And as the years started to go by, their father was still very distant, which Kendall then over time started to become really angry with him, and their relationship kind of just went downhill from there. They got pretty distant from each other, so they don't exactly have the best relationship. Kendall is known to have a lot of anger issues and easily can snap at people because of just any kind of slight annoyance. They're always just kind of on edge all the time. It's something they have a very hard time controlling, and they tend to keep to themselves because of it. Because even though Kendall does have this very cold demeanor when you look at them or meet them for the first time, they don't want to actually like snap at people, they don't want to be angry at people, they don't want to make people feel bad, because they don't want their anger or their hot temper to potentially hurt people, because that's the last thing they want to do, even if it might not seem like it. They're pretty soft, honestly, on the inside. It's just very hard for them to express those feelings, because since over the years when they were younger, they started to become super bad about just feeling comfortable talking about their feelings, since their dad was never really there. So they kind of were just like, there's no reason to talk about my feelings, there's no one really there to even talk about them. So a lot of what Kendall is actually going to learn and develop throughout the story, with the other characters that come in, is becoming a lot more comfortable with expressing with their feelings with other people, and knowing there will always be someone there in their life that will love and care about them. And at the end of the story, I know I want Kendall and their dad to tie up all these loose ends, for them to become closer, kind of fix their relationship some more. And even though Kendall and Eric are pretty close already, because Eric is really the only person that Kendall can trust, because Eric's been there with Kendall through literally everything. Even though Kendall is definitely still not the best at expressing or talking about their feelings, if they actually are willing to talk about something, they go to Eric about it, because Eric is the only one that they'll trust with it. So even with them being so close, I definitely think Kendall and Eric are gonna have a lot more of a closer bond by the end of the story. And Kendall is never really gonna hide anything from Eric anymore, because now they feel so much more comfortable with talking about what's going on and knowing that Eric has always been there and is still always gonna be there for them. Oh, and another little thing I forgot to add, Kendall really likes to write poetry and even really likes to write music. They use it as a way to kind of express their feelings and their anger. It's kind of a way for them to just not, lash out at people, so they try to find a way to at least cope with it. And that's kind of, like, that was kind of my inspiration for my piece that you were seeing in the background with all of the papers and stuff. And, all that kind of jazz. I thought it was funky. Because writing is definitely a really big part of Kendall's life. It's the one thing that really helps them feel grounded and helps kind of control their anger, kind of puts them in a nice calm mental state, because they can just express everything out on there instead of, like actually going and talking to someone about it, even though it's still probably good to do that, while also having that coping mechanism, which they will develop and learn that throughout the story. Or hopefully the player picks the right things and lets them, learn that stuff, because that's kind of the whole point of the game, is picking the right choices, having the characters say the right things to certain characters, to kind of help, to have them all help each other out. But that is basically all the little info that I wanted to share with you guys. I think this will be kind of fun, it's fun to just talk about your characters, because it's like, I don't give my characters a lot of attention. I don't really, talk about them even on YouTube or anything. So I think this will be a fun little thing. It's almost like a little exercise to be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna write a little thing about this character so I can explain what they're all about and what their backstory is and stuff like that. I definitely think I'm also gonna do a video after I talk about all of the 7 characters, and then I can be like, okay, now I'm gonna talk about some dynamics they have, potential story arcs that will maybe happen in the game, how I could see things happening, certain characters, how they help specific characters, that kind of stuff. Because I have some ideas of how certain arcs will actually go in the story, which I would like to talk about without getting too spoilery, but I'm pretty sure I can find a balance. But anyway, I think that this is the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe you can talk about your OCs in the comments throughout this little series, because I like hearing about people's OCs. Give them attention. Your OCs deserve attention. So talk about them. But if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and of course thank you to all my patrons. If you are interested, I just post content early, just art and YouTube things. But of course, I hope to see you guys in the next video. See ya.